morning, students. Welcome to the session where in the last period we are discussing regarding the second lesson of English subject, 10th standard. So that is the Elixir of Life, written by Sir C.V. Raman. So here I would like to gather the information what we have discussed in the last period. As we know that in the previous period we have discussed about the note on the author and also one of the paragraph of this lesson, that including the pre-reading activity. So in the last period we have discussed regarding the paragraph and regarding the lesson that this lesson is an essay on the importance and need of saving water, written by C.V. Raman. So the author, Sir C.V. Raman, here going to explain regarding the importance of water and also the need of saving water. And here he called this water as the elixir of life. I told in the previous class, the elixir of life, as it was mentioned by C.V. Raman, is nothing but the commonest of all liquid, that is the plain water. So here the imaginary elixir of life is the divine Amrita, where it is used to confer immortality. So here C.V. Raman referred this plain water, as he was going to call it as elixir of life, as that of the divine Amrita, which is going to confer immortality. Similarly, here according to the writer, according to the author, the real elixir of life is the plain water, where it is going to enhance the span of life. And we know that without the water it is not possible to exist any form of life on this earth. So here the basic thing for the existence of life on the earth is water. That's why C.V. Raman considered this plain water as the elixir of life, that we discussed in the previous lesson, that is in the paragraph 1 of this lesson. Let us go on the next paragraph, what here is going to explain and going to inform and give message to the readers. So listen carefully, children. Second paragraph of this lesson, elixir of life. I remember one day standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of the Nile in Egypt. On one side was visible a sea of billowing sand without a speck of grain or a single living thing, where visible a single thing anywhere visible on it, while on the other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth, teeming with life and vegetation. What made this wonderful difference? Why it is the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its sources a couple of thousands of miles away. So this is about the second paragraph, and it is given in your textbook. So here in the second paragraph, the author C.V. Raman is going to talk about the wonderful difference. He is going to recalling his experience, where he was going to say about the wonderful difference as he found standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of the Nile in Egypt. So, the second paragraph, he was saying about the wonderful difference what he observed while he was standing on the line. So, he was standing on the line. He was standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert. This is very important. Separate the Libyan desert from the valley of Nile. Nile is river in Egypt. So when he was standing on that particular line, if you observe the world map, that is of river Nile, the valley in Egypt, and also of the Libyan desert. So there will be a central part. If you stand, if it is I am standing here, just like that of Sri Raman, where he found on one side will be the desert, that is the Libyan desert on one side. If we consider what I am standing here will be the line where the author was standing, was one side will be the Libyan desert. We know that the desert, in desert there will be a scarcity of water, there are no plants and vegetation, there are no huge or number of animals we are going to see. So very less vegetation, very less animals they are going to survive. Whereas he found on the other side, where on the other side of the Egypt, on that particular line, you see a valley of Nile, the river Nile. The river Nile is going to flow on the other side, other area. Where on the side you are going to observe the greenest area, the greenery, that is more vegetation, number of living organisms, peoples with enough flow of water. So he was very wonderful. He was wonderful seeing this difference on particular line where he found standing. So separating the Libyan desert from the valley of Nile in Egypt. So he explained here, there is on one side was visible a sea of billowing sand. On one side he was seeing the billowing of sand. Billowing means what? Meaning, write down billowing. B-I-L-L-O-W-I-N-G, billowing. So billowing means here the meaning that is write down spreading over a large area. Billowing means spreading over a large area. Spreading over a large area. So he found on one side that a visible of a sea of billowing sand without a speck of grain. So a speck means what? Without a speck of green. It is small area, small patches of greenery was not able to see on that particular side where the sand was covering on the large area, that is the desert, and was not able to find any patches or the patches of green or the plants. Here the speck means a very small mark. A very small mark. That is without a speck of greenery means you was not going to see the plants. As usual, we know that in desert there are only few vegetation. Rarely we are going to find. So it will be of the description where he found on one side of that particular Libyan desert, and on the other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth. He was going to say where on the other side where he was standing, on the other side he was going to see the greenest populated areas with a variety of living beings. That is the diversity of living beings you are going to see. So, and also enough water, the flow of water, that is the Nile River was flowing. So, most fertile, most densely populated areas found anywhere on the earth. That is, usually you are going to see where there is available of water, there life is going to sustain for a longer period. Where the people wants to lead a life near to that of water resources. Not only the human beings, the other organisms, other animals and birds are also wants to live near to that of water resources. Like that, apart from that, vegetation full of plants, trees, and a number of living beings are also going to see. That is explaining teeming with life and vegetation. Teeming means full of. Teeming with means teeming. Teeming. Teeming means full of. Full of life and vegetation. Listen, children. There will be a question regarding this particular second paragraph for 3 marks or 4 marks in your examination. What is the difference that C.V. Raman found standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert and the valley of Nile? So then you have to answer what I am going to explain. So when he was standing in the line between these two, he found a wonderful difference. Where on the one side there is a billowing sand of a large area covering sand, that is desert, and no trees and plants, very less greenery and less water, and where the life is not going to exist as we are going to see normally. Whereas that condition, that situation was not found on the other side. According to the author, that is on the other hand of the desert, Libyan desert, river Nile was flowing with a large area, with a valley of Nile, which is going to making a difference. That is number of living beings and the greenery and the plants are going to see where life exists. So, in that particular line, he was going to observe the wonderful difference. He questioned himself, what made this wonderful difference? He questioned himself, and also he is going to questioning us. Why is like this? Why is like this means it is nothing but it is because of the available of water. Where on the desert we are not going to see any water or river Nile. So if there is no water, the scarcity of water, the life is going is going to be very difficult. We are not expecting a life without water. So, whereas on the other hand, because of the valley of Nile, life is going to exist, including plants and animals. Variety of plants, variety of animals. Whereas on desert, it is not possible. So, it is the water of river Nile flowing down the Mediterranean from its sources. Here he was answering why it is the difference, what made this wonderful difference. Means it is because of the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its sources a couple of thousands of miles away. We know the longest river which is flowing in this world is the river Nile. So the river Nile has a variety of species, plants and animals on its banks, river banks. Okay, so this is what the second paragraph he was going to explaining. That is, second I am going to repeat the summary, and the question will be there. What is the wonderful difference the writer talks about in paragraph 2? The question. The writer talks about the wonderful difference he found standing on the line which separates the Libyan desert from the valley of Nile in Egypt. On one side was a visible sea of billowing sand without a speck of green or a single living thing anywhere visible on it. While on the other side lay one of the greenest, most fertile and densely populated areas to be found anywhere on the earth. And he also said that the wonderful difference, what brought this wonderful difference. So this wonderful difference was made by the water of the river Nile flowing down to the Mediterranean from its source a couple of thousands of miles away. So, like this, there will be a question for 1 mark and also 3 marks question on this regarding this paragraph. Okay, so let us move on to the next paragraph, third paragraph. So, after this wonderful difference, what he has observed standing the line. So, third paragraph, geologists tell us that the entire soil of the Nile Valley is the creation of the river itself. So, geologists, we know that the person who are studying regarding the earth, the formation of earth, the soil. Okay, so these geologists tell us that the entire soil of the Nile Valley is the creation of the river itself. So the Nile Valley, the soil, the fertile soil is because of the flow of a river itself. It was brought down as the finest silt in its flood waters. Silt means here sand. Silt means sand or mud particles. We know that the river flowing, they bring along with the water sand particles, mud particles, and where it is going to situated, laid on the river banks, and because of that silt, sand particles, mud particles, the land is going to become fertile. Here was the geologist's opinion that because of that river itself, the entire soil was very fertile. It was brought down by the river through its flood waters from the highlands of Abyssinia and from remote Central Africa. So, from the Abyssinia and from remote Central Africa and laid down through the ages in the trough through which the Nile flows into sea. So, all along the way where the Nile river was going to flow is bringing the finest silt, that is the sand mud particles, and it is created because of that the fertile land. Egypt, in fact, was made by its river. In its ancient civilization was created and is sustained by the life giving waters which come down year after year with unfailing regularity. And also geologists are going to say that the ancient civilization of the Egypt and the life which are going to sustaining there on the sides of the banks of the river is because of its nature of the Nile River and the fertile land where they can cultivate, where they can get a resource for their life, and that is why the nature, the creation, the area is like that. The geologists are going to say the entire atmosphere and the surroundings they are going to say here like this. So this is about the third paragraph. So let us stop here today. In the next period we will discuss more, because the second paragraph only very important, and so many questions are going to be asked in your examination. So I hope you understood what I explained, and write down the homework question and try to answer this. Okay. Regarding the previous and today's session, I am going to give some question. Write down the homework questions. Okay. The first question: what is the imaginary elixir of life? Elixir of life. Second question: what according to the writer is the real elixir of life? Real elixir of life. Real elixir of life. ELIXIR, elixir of life. Next, third question, very important question. What is the wonderful difference? What is the wonderful difference? Wonderful difference. Wonderful difference. Single and comma. Wonderful difference. The writer talks. The writer talks about in paragraph 2. In paragraph 2. Last question regarding the second paragraph only. What brought about this? What brought about this wonderful difference? Wonderful difference. Students, in the previous period we have discussed the first paragraph. Regarding the first paragraph, the first two questions you will going to get answer, and today's second and third paragraph we discussed. After that, the second paragraph answer for third and fourth question. I hope you write these question and answers in your notebook and understand it correctly. Okay. In the next period, we will discuss the remaining paragraph of this lesson. Take care. Have a nice day.